It's time for drag races. Funny Car Chaos takes over West Texas on Cinco de Mayo weekend. May 5th and 6th, the place to party is Penwell Knights Raceway for 2 days of ground-pounding outlaw funny cars. Flame-throwing jet dragsters. This is the biggest and fastest drag race of the year. Kids 12 and under get in free. Every ticket is a pit pass. Cinco de Mayo weekend at the races. May 5th and 6th at Penwell Knights Raceway. 15 miles west of Odessa, off Interstate 20. Take exit 101. Head south and follow the tire smoke. Visit funnycarchaos.com or search Penwell Knights Raceway on Facebook for more info.
Hey, good evening, everybody, and welcome to this edition of Chaos Live. My name is David Rattan. I'm coming to you from Cowtown, America, Fort Worth, Texas, and we have got a good show for you tonight. We are going to be featuring a couple of competitors that are going to be running in the inaugural Nitro Chaos Drags from Edgewater Sports Park up in Cincinnati, Illinois. And, of course, that was supposed to be this weekend, but we've had a few curves thrown at us from Mother Nature this year, and we'll take that after the ways that we've been treated so well by Mother Nature over the years. And so it's going to be an interesting set of circumstances when we go to that Cinco de Mayo weekend. Not only will we be racing Funny Car Chaos at Penwell Knights out at Odessa, but we're also going to be having the Edgewater Sports Park inaugural event of the 2023 DMP Awnings Nitro Chaos Championship Tour. That is going to be outstanding. We have got so many things to talk about, so many things that are taking place in the world of chaos, and we're going to get a couple of great interviews with you tonight. Our show tonight is brought to you by the great people up in Fulton, Illinois at Twisted Shifterz and 360 Steel, and of course Darren Foster and his team have been big-time supporters of all things chaos for these several years. And all of you who are like me that are customers of 360 Steel and Twisted Shifterz know exactly what kind of customer service you can expect there. And, of course, we're going to be at Eddyville for the big double down up there, the chaos in the cornfield. And, of course, that's brought to you by Twisted Shifterz and 360 Steel. So with the doubleheader coming up in a week and a half, it's going to be fun to see who all can make it, and we're happy to have all of you that are joining us tonight. Of course, if you're following us on our YouTube channel, be sure to like and share and subscribe, and so you can keep up with all the information that is Funny Car Chaos and Nitro Chaos, and we would be very excited for you to subscribe to the channel. And, of course, Flow Racing, if you're not a subscriber, that's how you get all the action. And that brought to you by Larice Motorsports from Louisiana. They're joining us this year as we have people tuning in from all across the country. We've got the Nitro Monkey A-Fuel Dragster tuning in. Hey, Rick, and all the Choctaw Originals down there. Think of you guys often and look forward to the opportunity to see you at the races. So it's a double up on a Cinco de Mayo weekend, Friday and Saturday, May 5th and 6th, from West Texas to the southern border of Ohio, the northern border of Kentucky, with the car count out at Odessa continues to rise. It was 3 weeks ago that the car count was like 22, and it has now gone up to 29. So for all of our fans out there in West Texas, I'm telling you what, they've heard the call of the Permian Basin, and Gary Gardenhire and his team out at Penwell Knights Raceway at the Caprock Motorplex always do a great job of putting on a phenomenal show and having a track that is well prepared and a facility that can handle a lot of folks. So we're anticipating great crowds and a whole lot of great racing at Penwell Knights Raceway when we get there. You know, in just a little over a week. In fact, a week from tomorrow, people will start pulling in and getting set up and parked. And pre-party will take place on that Thursday night. And it'll be time for some chaos in West Texas. At the same time, a lot of first-time contestants are going to be going to Edgewater Sports Park, a new venue for the Chaos Series. And DMP Awnings bringing you the inaugural championship chase in Nitro Chaos drag racing. So doing a count, we've got 6 AA fuel altereds, and we've got 6 AA funny cars, 5 AA fuel dragsters, 1 A fuel dragster, and a couple of top fuel dragsters that are going to be there doing some licensing or testing. That is the latest count for Edgewater Sports Park. So the A field and B field will be filled up, and the racing is going to be outstanding as we are so excited to bring you this inaugural season of the Nitro Chaos Championship Tour. We're going to talk about that with our guests tonight. You know, it's been kind of fun to see the response, to see the reaction of people as they come aboard and they find out about Nitro Chaos, and they realize that it's going to be everything under the sun that runs nitromethane fuel, and so that pop is going to be heavy in the air at Edgewater Sports Park. And we'll get a taste of it out there at Pinwheel Knights Raceway, as well as there are multiple nitro-fueled funny cars that'll be getting it on in racing action at PKR. But so it's going to be outstanding. I hope you've made your reservations. And you know, we hated that we had to put them on the same weekend, but you know, we have to do what we have to do. And Chris Graves and the staff there at Edgewater Sports Park and Scott Gardner and everybody got together and made a good call. And so next weekend it's going to be on. And got to tell you, I was looking forward to being at Edgewater Sports Park. I always like to get the opportunity to go to a place that I've never been before, and that looks like an incredible venue for drag racing. And of course, the lineup there was stellar in all different kinds of ways. And you know, the Nitro Clown Joe Gallega is going to be driving his dragster there, and it's going to be excellent. It's going to be excellent. And hey, there's Lee Kraft, who's joined us back in here for tonight's show. How are you, my friend?
Man, I'm doing great. Yes, I had to do some behind-the-scenes works to get everything ready for the rest of the show. And David, look, good to be on live with you right here with Chaos Nation. And yes, I am as grieved as you are that we had to push back the Nitro Chaos. I'm not going to make it to Odessa, and that's going to be a lot of fun. I had planned to wear like a sombrero and a poncho and really get into Cinco de Mayo on the line and, get to my Mexican roots. Like I don't really have none, but I'll find them on Cinco de Mayo. But now I'm going to be in Ohio covering Nitro Chaos, and that's going to be a wicked good time with all that nitro burning. But wow, Chris Graves, everybody, give him a phone call, send him a thank you card. He's had to make adjustments for the first 3 races in this 2023 season, and I don't think there's ever been adjustments for the existence of Chaos. So he's get them all in this year, David.
Yeah, this is a very unusual set of circumstances for us. We have been so blessed with great weather in the history of Chaos from 2017. I think there's 1 or 2 adjustments that we ever had to make when it came to the schedule on account of Mother Nature. But you know what? We still consider ourselves very, very blessed, and to have the opportunity to do 2 races at one time. You know, that's a little bit of improvisation being put into place, but thanks to having an excellent crew, our media people, and all the folks that make Chaos happen, I think it's going to go off without a hitch, and we cannot wait to see everybody there. So you're going to be in Ohio, and I'm going to be in Texas.
Yes.
And I can't wait till we get together after the races and for our next Chaos Live and trade notes.
I hear you, man. Yes, we're definitely going to be doing that. That will be certainly an interesting episode. It'll be the first time that we don't know what happened where we were in both places, and it's going to be an interesting Chaos weekend because Odessa will be streamed, but Warren's going to be with me up there in Ohio. James is going to be down there in Odessa. It's going to be a fascinating Chaos weekend, and I don't know. You never know. It might give Chris bigger, grandiose ideas that a double weekend could happen and work, and you see something beyond that. You never know. You don't. And so it's going to be the big test.
And of course, we'll have the Mississippi Mafia out at Penwell Nights Raceway. Hey, Toad. And glad to have you guys tuning in here tonight. But yeah, if we can successfully pull this off, I don't know what might be in the future. We may double up more than once.
For sure. Well, look, how about we do some doubling up on guests, because we've got Dave Hill, Ryan Hill, and Shannon all queued up and ready to go to talk about Nitro Chaos coming up there at Edgewater Motorsports Park in Ohio with that bad Mad Max nitro burning Mustang that they have got.
Yeah, that's going to be great to see that gang get on the screen here with us, and can't wait to talk with them and find out what all is happening in the world of Mad Max and the Nitro Bandito. We'll have them back right after this.
Chaos comes to Cleves, Ohio, and Edgewater Sports Park, Friday and Saturday, May 5th and 6th. Presented by Summit Racing Equipment. Header flames will fill the sky on Friday night with 2 rounds of nitro qualifying under the lights. Saturday, final qualifying and elimination. Plus, seat gear slamming gassers, nitroscoping door slammers, and the crowd favorite Blastro and Mayhem Outlaw Minivan. Every ticket is a pit pass, and kids 10 and under are free. Get info at nitrochaos.com. May 5th and 6th, Edgewater Sports Park. Be there.
All right. Well, we got a full house here on Chaos Live now.
That we do.
Welcome, Dave, driver of the Mad Max car, and then the Yeehaws, as they
howdy, howdy Lee, and howdy David.
The screen. No, that's Ryan and Shannon.
Yes, it is. Hi.
I had no choice in the name.
You know what? You asked for a name, and I gave you one.
Howdy, guys. How's it going?
It is so much fun to see this bunch right here. If a person can come to the races, and if they're wondering where the fun is, all they got to do is find Mad Max, and they will find a party going on. And if there's not one happening immediately, it'll break out shortly. I can tell that right now.
That is the truth.
Yeah,
that is the truth behind that.
We try to make it fun for everybody that comes to the pit, as well as these two here. They make it fun for social media too. So I'm the modest one of the bunch, and these two here, they let it hang out. So they make up for what me being the modest one, right?
Right.
That's right. Well, it takes a team to make the dream work, and you guys have got a team that's put it on all fronts, on the racetrack, on social media, in your own business ventures. Now, Dave, you are you an East Tennessee guy, right?
Yeah, I'm. Where'd you get that from? Yeah, I grew up in Maryville, Tennessee, which is southwest of Knoxville, actually right over the mountain from Gatlinburg. We used to go to Gatlinburg all the time and hang out and party and all that stuff back in high school. So, yeah, a good old country boy. And then I migrated to Chicago out of high school. And that, boy, you talking about taking a left turn? That was a new world right there. And so, but I migrated into Indiana after that because we wanted to have kids. And boy, just look at them. I mean,
That was a mistake.
So no, it was good. It was a good move to get out of Chicago, move to Indiana. But yeah, I'm East Tennessee. I'm country boy. I grew up in the country in the wood. We had 40 acres and farmed and all that stuff, and that's about it. Yeah.
So you went to Chicago. From there, did you go to the Army?
I did. I was a couple of years in Chicago and knew that you want to go somewhere in life. You don't know where you're at. You're a hard worker. You have drive. You have possibilities of doing and being something. What it is, you don't know. So you have to figure it out. And at some point, I realized that I wanted to be in the military. Well, I wanted to fly helicopters. So they said there was no room for helicopter pilots. So I was a great mechanic. So I was a mechanic on a Huey for a while, and then I did fly a bit. But my eyes took me away from that, and I was a mechanic the rest of my time on a Huey. So a very, very enjoyable time. The only reason I got out was because they were bringing in the Blackhawks, and you needed a year's training, and we had started a business, and I had started a family. So that was all out the door. But I did have a great time in the military. I did. Most people don't, but it's what you make of it. It really is.
Yeah. Well, I saw the picture on your Facebook of the Huey. And something about good Army days that you had some great ones. Now, you fall into the line of for the sake of discussion, like a Don Schumacher. You've got a B-type business that provides you with the income necessary to be able to do what you like to do. And so you've had that business for quite some time. I'm sure. Did you start that from scratch? Did you buy it? Did you build it?
When we were in Chicago, my brother was the salesman. My mother was the CEO of a company, and I was a mechanic, and we worked for a few years doing all this. And we had the bright idea. Well, if he can make millions of dollars, why can't we? Boy, it was the hardest thing that we ever did. We started a family business in '90. And we struggled because we weren't businessmen. We thought we were hard workers. And it took us quite a few years to find our niche and get together and decide where we wanted to go in the recycling, repair, sales, and service business. So by the mid-'90s, we were well on our way to becoming a profitable business. But the first few years were, you want to throw the towel in almost. But so, yeah, we've been able to do that. We've sold a couple of businesses, started another one, sold another one. And then the last one we sold, I went on my own. And since then, of course, I've got both my sons working with me. So we're back into the family business. So it's pretty good. It's pretty good.
Well, that is excellent. And I love hearing about people's business growth. And, it's so important to be able to be successful at that. It gives you the opportunity. I mean, it's not like it's easy to run a business. It's far from it, as you just talked about it. But, the skill set and the business that can come from that to allow you to do things so that you've got second generation. And do we also have third generation coming up in racing?
We will have her youngest. So me and my wife got together. She previously had kids, and we have Blake. He's 8. He is the smartest little smart ass kid that I've ever met. But he's super interested, and I actually end up buying my old junior dragster back from when I sold it in 2008. So he gets to pilot the car that I piloted for 5 years back in the junior days. So here in the next few months, once we get the season started for us, we'll actually, as weird as that sounds, actually have some time to slow down and go get him a suit. We have US 41 right down the road from us. It's 15 minutes from our house, and it's 45 minutes from here at the shop. And we'll take them down there and start getting some laps going. So it's always been a dream of mine to have kids and to be married and to have our kids go racing. So I think it's going to stay in the family for as long as they let it. That's really what it's going to be. That's what we hope for, at least.
That is so cool. I spent quite a few years as a junior dragster director at Texas Raceway in Kennedale. So getting a chance, I know exactly where you're headed with this, and it's a wonderful experience. And of course, you guys lived it with you, Ryan Racing, and proud dad watching, and it is just such a wonderful family experience to be able to do that, and now to have another generation coming on. I know you're excited. Shannon, does that thrill you?
Oh, absolutely. Yep, 100%. So we actually have our oldest, Jenna. So she's 13, but she has absolutely zero interest in driving. And Blake is a twin. So his twin sister, I'm trying to get her into it too. She still kind of thinks that it's kind of a boys thing to do. So I think this year, once we get her out with Blake and seeing that there's other girls out there, it'll pique her interest as well. So
that's our goal. That's our goal.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah. And then my littlest one at 2 years old, if it's got a steering wheel, she don't care if it's the tractor, the motor home, the lawnmower. She wants to stay on it, play on the steering wheel. So at 5 years old, she'll probably be ready to drive a race car as well. All we got is 2.5 years, and we're in trouble.
Yeah. Well, when I allude back to that junior dragster days, my first year at Texas Raceway, we had a big event, and there were a couple of people that you might have heard of that were racing with us that year. One is Spencer Massey, and the other was Erica Enders. And so,
I remember
that's where they came from. And I get to claim a little bit of, hey, I know these guys. I knew these.
That's pretty
this guy and
cool.
girl before they were, professional drag racers, and
that's really awesome.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
So you got rid of the junior in 2008. Now,
yep.
Now you guys went nitro racing. I don't know, 08, 09.
Yeah, so we did a stint from '08, end of '08 and early mid 2012 with a gentleman up out of here. We went partners with him on his A-Fuel dragster. It was mocked up after a top fuel car. Good combination. We played in the Division 3 stuff for a while, and then IHRA had the Pro Fuel stuff that we did for however long it was around. And honestly, we think it kind of led us to this road that we were on. Obviously, after we got out of it, we kind of got into the door car stuff. I always had a soft spot for Pro Mod stuff. And, you know, I grew up watching like Quayne Stott and Hoover and all those guys back in the IHRA days. It was always just a fascination for me. So, you know, we did this door car thing for a little while. Then I got one lick in his Nitro funny car to realize I've been wrong my whole life.
Now that is, I've never heard anybody say that before, but that's pretty cool right there. Well, so the Nitro bug has bit all of you.
Yeah, and I can say when I was younger, you know, we go younger, and you know, I graduated high school in '09, so I was still a child. I was still 18 years old back then. I didn't quite understand this stuff as much as I do now to appreciate it. So for me, I guess I got my Nitro bug a little late in life, but you know, I'm still we're all happy we're here because it honestly has been the most fun. And honestly, the Nitro community is so much more just like everybody is so much more down to earth. And honestly, I think we enjoy the people. The people make this sport a lot of fun. And, you know, and not hating on like our door car guys and the door car brothers, but it was more clicky-ish. The Nitro world, nobody cares here. I mean, our first race out in 21 when we did it, we twisted an input shaft. I borrowed an input shaft from Palmer, and Joe and Joey Haas gave us clutch discs. We made the weekend. I think Gallegos gave us some fuel. I mean, we came in with our heads in our asses, and they helped us out. So it was awesome.
Yeah, pretty awesome, really.
So it's been a fun road, and honestly, we've had some pretty good success with this car. And now that we have the other car, the goal is to kind of really see if we can share some data between both of them. And honestly, I think our goal is to try to go 5:30s in the quarter mile with one of these things. And they make the horsepower to do it. We can just keep them together. We know they will.
Yeah. Keep them together and put all that power to the ground.
Absolutely.
You know, Dave Ryan talked about US 41 being close to you guys there. Now, what I'm thinking is US 30 back in the day, because when I was reading Carcraft magazine and Ben Brown on funny cars and all that kind of stuff, there was always something from US 30 at Gary, as that was a real hotbed of activity. Did y'all ever get it? Did you ever get in on that?
You're gonna. I hate to say it because I almost cry because of the stories I hear. I moved to Chicago the year it closed.
Oh wow!
So I hear everybody tell stories and I listen up. I've seen pictures. There was a Glenn and Dave Heacock used to live right around the corner. They had all the 30 members. They had no big thing stored there for a little while, and then we're only 25 minutes from where 30 was. So. I mean, we're right down the road, and every now and then you go by there and you look and you check it out, and you know, it's nothing there. But so no, I never got to go. I never got to see it.
I still think it's considered a historical marker, if I'm right. And I don't think they can physically tear it down yet. So you can actually still walk the two patches of asphalt that make the quarter mile there. So it is kind of cool. Some people who have never got a chance to experience it, you can actually still walk it. It's private property, but I've walked it several times and never gotten yelled at yet.
Well, that's, you know, there's so much of that heritage all around you. You know, just go up to Michigan to, you know, when we raced at Martin at US 131, and that was a blast. And of course, you know, Milan is up there, and of course the tracks around you. But there's so much heritage there. You don't have to go very far, talk to very many people, and you can find people that were there when it happened. You know, as they say in Hamilton. I was there when it happened.
Yep.
Exactly.
Yeah. That's pretty awesome. Yeah.
I think we figured out where we're at in Valpo. I think we're within like 5 hours. I think we're within like 20 racetracks.
Yeah, we're fortunate. To be
pretty fortunate to have a lot of places that we could go if we wanted to, you know. So we kind of grew up in the racing area, so to speak.
Well, I have to tell you that those of us in Chaos Land, you know, we were really excited to have you racing with us. And 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 since you're running pop and you got funny cars, you can run either Nitro Chaos or Funny Car Chaos. And I like what you've talked about, that you're probably going to run some of both. And because the more we can see you, the better we like it. And so it's just really exciting to see that.
Yeah.
And now that you've got this second car in the house, what's the plan on that for your fans out there?
So we're kind of touching a little bit back and forth. We kind of have like Dad's combo kind of squared away a little bit to where we like it. And then we've gotten to that, what more can we do kind of thing. So I think the idea for this one will be a little bit bigger pump, a little bit more aggressive with our clutch setups to see if we can go even quicker than the Mad Max car. And then the overall goal eventually is to be able to have this father-son family match racing kind of deal that we can put together and kind of book in and have some fun with that, because it's a little bit harder for us to get all of our guys together. I mean, all of our guys are all volunteer guys, a lot of guys that have some background in racing and stuff like that, so we're a pretty small crew of guys, so it's kind of hard to do both cars a lot. So it'll probably be 1 or 2 times a year we take them both out, but the overall goal is just to see how quick we can go with them. That really is and now the Nitro Chaos has come around, now let's see how competitive we can really be with what we have here. Maybe one of these days we can get both cars running the Nitro Chaos series. That would be, to me, that's a goal. That's a goal. It's a little far-fetched, but it's a goal to run both cars in it.
Well, it's one thing to run for fun, and it's wonderful. I'm sure it's awesome to do that. However, you've got that little extra on the line out there, as there's a pot of gold at the end of the rainbow, so to speak, with this Nitro Chaos Championship Tour. And has that got your juices going, Dave?
That's what we did. We had some success last year, and we actually had some success in my car with Ryan driving. But we, with the help of, Jake Sanders helped me put it all together initially. And then since then, Rick Kraft's been helping me really with the tune-up and me understanding fuel. What you think you understand of fuel is one thing, and then you get into it and you go, oh, okay. And so I'm learning as I go, but Ryan felt like he was ready to drive. And I said, well, let's take you down to Edgewater, put a couple laps on. He did extremely well. And we were already booked in Milan. So we went there and threw some fuel at it and some clutch at it and timing, and the damn thing run faster than it had been since that I was in it. So it's funny that he's been faster in my car than I have. So
I ran almost a full second faster than I've ever been in anything in my life. So it was just
one of those
unreal, ungodly experiences. I can't even explain how it was. Still go back, watch videos, critique it all, but it was still just one of the wildest things. Like I said, I should have found Nitro sooner.
Oh man, and you haven't stopped smiling since, right?
No, not at all. Not at all.
I got to tell you, David, I teased him for years about wanting to know if his huevos were ever going to get big enough. And, and at some point I actually stopped because I didn't want to pressure him into a situation he's uncomfortable with. He needed to be ready to drive and let me know confidently that he can handle it, because there's a lot going on. It's just a lot happens fast. So he did very well, and we're going to take it to the next level. But in having fun with that, I also thought we've got a great bunch of crew guys that come together, and we all get along. We all work hard. I wanted to give them a goal too, because it's one thing to go out there and we go fast, header flames, yippee-ki-yay. No, we've got a goal now, and I'm always goal oriented, and I feel like that we could put this goal together and try to run for it. I mean, who knows where we'll end up? We may or may not do well, but you'll never know unless you try. So it gives us all, I think it makes us step up a little bit, makes us put a little more effort in, a little more thought, a little bit more hustle. And then me as a driver, I've got to step up. I mean, I've really got to step up on my leave. I got to leave better, because I haven't been a good leaver. How's that?
I don't want to be the bearer of bad news, but you did it for yourself. So
yeah. I think I figured it out, and it's not old age. Okay?
You said it, not us.
It's not old age. You were gonna say it, so I had to jump in there myself. I mean,
yeah. Well, you have surrounded yourself with a good crew, and we've been around some of these folks for a while. You mentioned Rick Kraft, and of course Rick was at the first Nitro Chaos. You mentioned Jake Sanders. He was at the first Nitro Chaos, and he and his dad won that first Funny Car Chaos event. with the Mr. Explosive Mustang. And it has been so much fun to get acquainted with people through the years. And you guys have certainly got the people that are helping you keep it on the right track and find yourself to win light after win light. And, you guys have really done a great job with showmanship. It's a beautiful car that you've got, the Mad Max. And, Shannon has really done a wonderful job of continuing to promote the organization and the company with the Mad Maxine routine, haven't you?
Trying. That's definitely part of it. And it's funny because a lot of people go on how confident I am when I'm doing it. The first few times I went out there, I was like a deer in the headlights. Like, I didn't know what I was doing. It's very intimidating, and I mess up a lot. So I forget what race it was. I was literally about to quit. Like, I'm like, I cannot get it perfect, and I'm done with it. And then that was one of our best runs that we did. Like, everybody was excited how the car ran, and I was just excited how, like, I put it in where I needed it to be. And so it's really intimidating. And I tried to get my mother-in-law to do this job, and she didn't want to do it. His mother doesn't want to do it. But if we get both cars out, we definitely need a second backup girl. So we were trying to figure out if the backup girl goes to the driver or goes to the car. So that's another thing we got to work out.
My wife backing up my dad's car, and I'm over here like, what the hell?
Now, Shannon, you're an entrepreneur yourself, are you not?
Yeah, absolutely. Yep. So I'm a trained pastry chef. And I went straight out of culinary school, and went into a high-end restaurant downtown Indianapolis. That one ended up shutting down. So then after that, I laid low for a while. I ended up opening my own bakery, owned that for a few years, but like with having the twins, they were 1.5, 2. It was just really hard to do that. So I stayed at home. After that point, did a lot of stuff for myself. And then I got a job as the executive pastry chef for the Indiana Masonic Home. And that didn't last long either because COVID hit. And it's at that point, it's either you sink or you swim. I was pregnant with Kinsley at that point, and to put myself out there and risk it, I didn't want to do that. So I just put my butt in gear and started making money from home. So I've continued to do that, and we do well enough that, fingers crossed, I'll eventually get my own car.
We're working on that part.
That's the goal. That's the end goal. So I'm on my way.
I'm telling you what, Dave, you're going to have a house full of hot rods, big time.
Hot rods, hot kids, but the egos over here, David, you just can't believe it. This place is like exploding with ego.
If we'll just show you real quick at the back of the shop. Yeah, just everything that's going on in here. So there's plenty of room for more cars. There's plenty of room for more race cars.
That Nitro Bandito has found its way to the winner's circle already in chaos competition with John Umlauf. And of course, you guys are going to get a chance to see them over at Edgewater in a week and a half, as they are coming up with their new ride too.
It's been exciting to talk to those guys about that car. Yeah. They, and I still think they still got a sweet spot for this car. I told them they can come over and rub on it anytime they want.
Yeah.
And I guess
it was good to them.
Yeah, absolutely was.
What's this rumor I hear about Lee wanting to warm up a funny car, a nitro car? What do
I was going to ask before we let y'all go. Are we still on if we have before Q3? I got to learn it one day eventually anyway if I'm ever going to drive. So put me in, coach.
If there's any way here, seriously, while we're here and we're live, if there's any way you could come over, I've literally have stood beside the car and went through what I want you to do as if you're me. Because we're gonna need to check the clutch pack. We're gonna need to put it in forward and reverse, put it on fuel, hold the brake. We're gonna check the tug. I mean, you're gonna basically be doing what I do in the car, just with my direction. So if you're comfortable with that, I'd like you to come on over. We'll talk about it once. I mean,
I'm all about it.
I think you'll dig it. It's not like you can really do it unless you slam it in reverse or forward when the wheels are spinning. Then I might cry or something. I mean,
right. Hey, look, after Trevor Larkin and Greg Racing let me sit in on the warm up with their A Fuel dragster and Nitro came on. It's even worse now. I checked the credit card. I'm like, let's see. Do I got enough for a suit? Can I swing this right now?
Yeah. It will rumble the huevos a little bit while you're sitting in there. So you know. That's the good thing about it. You feel every hit, every shot. So
I tell you
no,
what,
I'm looking forward to it.
the difference between the A fuel cars and then our car is that blower makes it pop just that little extra bit. So as it's on fuel on the stand, it just sits there and rocks and shakes. And that's probably the coolest feeling besides Matt and the gas.
It's got a rhythm.
It's got rhythm. Absolutely. Like
you can't believe it. You guys won't believe it. It's sitting there idling and it's got this rhythm going, and you feel every bit of it. So you know when it's right. Like when I get goosebumps right now just thinking about it, because it just it feels so good when it's right and it's idling right, and you feel like you could take on the world. I mean, it's only wheels underneath your ass and you're going fast. Okay, but it still makes it fun. And yeah, if you'll come over a few times over the weekend, we'll go over it, and then Q3 we'll have a fresh clutch in it, so we'll go through it. Yeah, that'd be great.
It's a plan.
That'd be great. Yeah, we're excited
to be
for that.
one happy man.
I will be. I will be.
We're gonna put him in debt for the rest of his life.
Yes.
Yeah, you're gonna want one. You're gonna want one. Okay.
I already want one. It's just gonna make it work.
Well, I mean, there's lots of cars to rent out there. I mean, really.
There is.
I kept my A fuel license for years driving DeCero's car. I was going to drive Meyer's car once, but I decided to save the money. Actually, we put that in Ryan's first pro mod. So,
yep. No, hey, look, I understand. I know Randy now, but Randy, like, man, what we talking?
Yeah, well, it's went up considerably from when I, worked on him. So, yeah, but one thing he said to me one time, he says, here's how it works. He said, I guarantee you qualifying will smoke the tires at least once. I guarantee you we'll be in eliminations. And he said, I get all the money.
Worth it.
Okay. How do you say no to that? Right. I mean, so anyway, it was good. Actually, when we put the A fuel car together, we went down and bought his old pro, all the hardware. I bought $10,000 worth of parts from him for my first A fuel car, so yeah, it's good time. He's good. So it's going to be fun racing those guys. I know there's going to be several teams that are going to be really, really tough to beat. And I think I don't know, if the track conditions are good, it's a tracks. I think that there's going to be some good numbers up. And I think it's going to really make the chaos work, man. I really do.
Got to rely on our driver with the good reaction times too.
Yeah.
Just know that we're hunting for everybody.
Yeah.
So that's it. We're hunting for everyone. We don't even care who it is. We're coming after everybody.
There you go. See what I mean about laying it out there? See, I'm over here, Captain Modest over here. This go over here,
Hey, Jody Austin's already got a freaking match race going. We need someone to match race with. I don't know. I can't take Jody now that he's got Megan going. I need someone to match race with. We need somebody. We'll take anybody Q2 Friday night.
Hey, so
call
you're
him out.
Call him out. Call him out.
I don't know who I want to call out. I want them to come to us. Who wants a piece of us? I always want a piece of everybody. Who wants a piece of our ass?
Okay.
Here we go. See what I mean, boy?
All right. Stay tuned, race fans. I tell you what, if you weren't already hyped up about Edgewater Sports Park and the inaugural DMP Awnings Nitro Chaos race of 2023, you ought to be now.
Yes.
It's gonna be good. It's gonna be good. It's
excited.
all in fun.
I mean, there might be like a $5 bet and there a 12-pack of beer. I don't have tons of money, but I'll definitely buy your dinner or something. That's about all I can do.
Oh, that's assuming we're gonna lose already, pal. What are you talking about?
No, I just said it's about all I got to offer is dinner.
Oh, okay. So if we lose, he's buying.
That's probably all
There
right.
we go.
It'll be good. It'll be good, guys. Yeah. No, we've been looking forward to it, been gearing up for it. And we committed, I didn't originally sign up for the last two dates only because I guess I was going to see how the first two went. And then I looked at how the whole schedule worked and how the point system worked. And it's like, okay, you got to go to all of them. And then he's going to throw out the one that is the leaser of the points that you've accumulated. All right. So we got to do the whole thing. And that, I think that's better anyway, so we're committed. We're committed.
Yep.
Well, that's exciting to us on the show and everybody out there in Chaos Nation. Is quite a few people have decided that this is going to be their thing. So thanks for adding to the hype and adding to the fun and adding to our knowledge base of all things Mad Max and all things Hill Family Racing. Man, you guys and gals are awesome, and we appreciate you tuning in, joining us tonight on the show. Thanks for sharing so much. This has been a blast, and we can't wait to see you at the races.
May I say I want to put a shout out to the Red Line Motorsports Media, Jerry and Mindy. The videos that you see that of Ryan and Shannon and everything, they were all by Jerry and Mindy. They put them in the car, front, rear, and they've edited them, and they're handling some of the social media stuff, but all the videos are coming from those guys. So I can't say enough about them and what they've done for us. And I think it's enhanced everything that we have. And it gives us actual fun stuff to look at, but also we can go back and critique the sound of the engine, how it left, everything, fuel coming out of the pipes. I mean, we just tell so much about the car from the videos. So without those guys, that we wouldn't have those videos. So I just want a little shout out to them.
Absolutely. Glad to have you do that. And, it takes a lot of those friends and sponsors and supporters and, a lot of little ones and a few good sized ones. Really makes a big difference and makes it to where our racers can come and put on that great show that you like to do. So I'm glad you got a chance to put that in. Anything else, y'all?
We're hungry.
We appreciate you. We appreciate you guys having us on and letting us share a little bit about our lives. And if we see you at the track with hugs and kisses and everything, and let's make for a good season.
It's going to be
Sounds
just
like
that,
a winner.
for sure.
All right. Best of luck to you at Edgewater.
Thank you.
Thank you. See you guys.
See you then, buddy.
Yep.
Check out Twisted Shifterz for the largest selection of made in the USA custom shift knobs and adapters. Made for muscle cars, old and new, hot rods to race cars, and for the big rigs. With our original shift toppers adapter for the air shifters to use any threaded shift knob like the old days. Add custom lettering and logos to make it your own custom shift knob. TwistedShifters.com. We are made in America and we ship worldwide. What can 360 Steel do for you? We make custom steel products made right here in Illinois. Fire pits of all kinds, knockdown styles to take along anywhere. Hold your drinks high with our drink stands while throwing horseshoes or bags. We have a complete line of military to firefighter signs, flags, hats, stickers, and more, along with many styles of decor. Welcome signs and custom clocks to a number of different monograms and signs. Personalized, custom options for your perfect sign. Bare steel or powder coated to last indoors and outdoors. 360steel.com. Spell it out. 360steel.com.
All right, and now we welcome to the show Gary Wheeler, and hey, first of all, do you want to call out Mad Max? I just want to throw that out there right now. They're looking for somebody. You want to do that?
I don't know about doing that. I've got somebody in mind, though.
Oh, okay.
Hey, Gary, welcome to the show, man.
Thank you, sir. Glad to be on.
It's sure good to see your smiling face again, and we're getting hyped up and ready for that trip to Cincinnati. It looks like it's going to be really outstanding. I got to ask you a question. I was reading about your senior year in high school, and you just decided to opt out on that so you could go racing. Tell everybody that story. I love that story.
Yeah, it was kind of a deal me and my dad had decided. I was all set to go to my senior trip, and the Tulsa Spring Nationals happened to be on the same weekend I was going on my senior trip. And Dad said, well, if you wasn't going on your senior trip, we'd go race. I said, done. So I skipped my senior trip to run Tulsa at the Spring Nationals, which is only about 45 miles from home. And got fortunate enough, that was my first time ever competing, and had a blast. Dad taught me, spent the better part of that year learning to drive a car, and got fortunate enough, won a few rounds, and ended up making it to the finals. And I red lighted in the finals, unfortunately. But all in all, I wouldn't change it for the world. I mean, we were going to Six Flags over Texas, and I'd already been there, so can't miss an opportunity to go race though.
So what were you driving at that Spring Nationals event?
It was actually my dad's car. It was a Paul Payton rear engine dragster. It was carbureted, big block Chevrolet on nitrous. Had a B&J 3-speed in it with a pedal clutch. And we were running, basically it was like what they would call top dragster now. It was a index type deal. And so I basically learned to bracket race with a pedal clutch and a 3-speed.
Let's see, Six Flags over Texas or go top dragster racing.
Yeah, oh yeah. Wasn't a hard choice.
Yeah, that was quite a thrill ride. So you and your dad have been going to the drags. Is he got you your start and your interest in drag race?
Yeah, it's kind of a long story, but I'll make it kind of short. My dad, basically, when I was born, I had some medical issues with my feet, and the doctors wasn't going to release me. They wanted to do some experimental surgeries and everything. And basically, like I said, a long story short, my dad carried me and took my mom out of the hospital. And lo and behold, the race car was sitting out on the trailer in the hospital parking lot. And we left straight from the hospital and went straight to the racetrack. So you can basically say I was born and raised at a racetrack.
Wow, that is a very early introduction to drag racing. Wow. So, but that was your first time in the driver's seat is when you went to the final round in that dragster.
Yeah, I mean, we ran a deal here in Tulsa for quite a while. Steve Carlo put on. It was a top comp type association deal. We ran it monthly, and I basically learned to drive during those events. My dad wouldn't let me compete against another car until he felt I was comfortable and prove to him that I could handle the car. And, back then there wasn't no junior dragsters or anything to start out with. So my first race car was a 7-second rear engine dragster with a pedal clutch on it. And he felt comfortable enough, I guess. And I got my license, my NHRA Super Comp license, and had all of that done and had the license in hand and was just itching to go race. And lo and behold, the Tulsa Spring Nationals came at the same time of my senior trip was. And like I said, it wasn't much of a decision to me, thought process in that area. So we went racing. I mean, that's what me and my family did all through growing up is our vacations were racing. So you can pretty much say I literally grew up at the racetrack because if there was somewhere, usually we were at it.
All right. And so fast forwarding to today, now this is not going to be your first time behind a nitro burning Hemi. Hey, today's 426, isn't it? Today's Hemi day.
Pretty close.
Yeah. So we've, so you're going to go to Edgewater and you're driving John Brooks' car. Is this your second tour of duty with the Grand Prix car?
Yes, sir. It's back in 06, I believe it was. I was actually driving Outlaw Fuel Altereds at the time, and I've known John since I was in diapers, sitting on the counter at Grand Prix Speed Shop. Basically, because that was where we did business all the time. So he called me up one day and said, "Hey, I want to go A-Fuel racing, Nostalgia A-Fuel racing." And I said, "Cool, sounds good to me." He said, "Would you be interested in driving it?" And I said, "Sure." I mean, that was another no-brainer. I mean, driving an injected nitro car for, John Brooks, that's just a no-brainer. And it took us about a little over a year to get a car, get the road deck blocks, and get the parts and the pieces and everything. And we displayed the car and everything, took it out. I mean, the very first, it was a hat injected 392 on it. We had a Gene Adams set our fuel system up for us initially and whatnots. And I mean, like they say, once you get that nitro in your blood, you can't get it out. And there's no known cure, nor is it wanted to get the nitro out of your system. And I drove for him for like 7 years that time. And then we parted ways for a few years. And then 4 years ago, I believe it is, 4 or 5 years ago, got the opportunity to come back and drive for him. And it's been a match made in heaven. I can't complain, and I can't ask for anything any better.
You know, when people come to Nitro Chaos there at Edgewater Sports Park and they see that car, John has always had absolutely show quality, beautiful race cars. That just seems to be a trademark of the Grand Prix Autosports cars, is that they are, spectacularly well done. Is that kind of the theme that he likes to portray?
Oh yeah, John likes, like he says, we may not.
Looks like maybe we
lost Gary. I've never seen someone just freeze up and just go, but he didn't even freeze up. He was just gone. So
yeah, that was zip Sam.
Gone.
Maybe he can plug back in here in a minute. But on that topic that we were discussing, that those Grand Prix Autosport cars out of Tulsa, John Brook, those are just beautiful race cars. They're fast, yeah, but they will always are always in the running for best appearing, if nothing else. And so, getting a chance for the race fans to see them up at the Nitro Chaos opener, be sure you go by and talk with Gary and the team there, because you're going to love what you see there.
For sure.
I've been hanging around with the racetrack with Gary for quite some time. I'm not sure if the first time was 2015, but might have been a little bit before that. But he used to race SHRA with us, and he's raced all kinds of things. He builds cars. He's crewed on nitro funny cars and nitro dragsters. Drove the fuel altered as he was getting to, and so I'm hoping that he'll be able to tune back in here in just a minute. We can finish this interview. Hey, I saw just a minute ago that Darren Foster has tuned in from Twisted Shifterz and 360 Steel. Glad to have you joining us tonight, Mr. Foster. We're looking forward to seeing you when we get up there to Eddyville. We've got a double up coming up Memorial Day weekend at Eddyville Raceway Park. But that's a little bit different. It only takes one crew to do that double up. We're going to be 1,000 miles apart.
It's certainly going to be, man, both of these occurrences will be very different for Chaos, being so far apart, having two of them going on at the same time, crews split, double streams, and then all of it together. I mean, I'm thinking to myself, how am I going to be able to cover all these stories with so many funny cars that we're going to have at Eddyville, as we always do, and then Nitro Chaos, always a good crowd there at Eddyville as well. It is going to be a huge event for sure. And I don't know, that might be one of those that from years on afterward, the fans at Eddyville, which are great fans in their own right, they talk about that Chaos in the Cornfield doubleheader. I think they're going to be talking about it. But speaking of talking, David, we got Gary back on the phone.
Good.
Sorry about that. Gotta love internet.
Live, it happens, man. It happens.
Oh yeah.
Well, we love it until we don't. But we were talking about those beautiful cars that come out of Grand Prix Autosport.
Oh yeah, that's one thing that John really takes pride in. He making his cars look extremely nice, extremely well detailed, and everything. And one thing he always says is, we may not be professional, but we and he just, he's very, very anal about his cars, as far as keeping the cars nice. There's, not a lot of excess stuff on the cars other than what has to be on there, and just keeping the cars clean and neat, keeping them presentable.
Yeah. So you've now you build race cars. You've run your own race cars for years now.
Oh yeah. Yeah, I've built several different race cars. I mean, I've been driving these cars since I was 17, basically. I've had, rear engine dragsters. I've had top alcohol dragsters, outlaw fuel altereds, the Nostalgia A-Fuel car. Then a couple of years ago, we brought out the Heritage Legal top fuel car. And then we had the Heritage Legal A-Fuel car, which is now is our Chaos car. So yeah, I've drove pretty much everything. Drove a couple of nitro funny cars, or drove a nitro funny car for a little while, and I've got my funny car. One of these days, I'll get it back out on the circuit. We took it out testing past weekend, and didn't do so good with it. It's got a gremlin in it that I just haven't been able to find, but I'll find it.
Well, you've got so many irons in the fire that sometimes it's going to take maybe a little focus to get that 55. Of course, now there's not a lot of 55 Chevy funny cars. There's there's more 57s, but that 55 of yours, I think was the first time you brought it out at the Classic a couple of years ago at Ennis.
Actually, I took it to Bocan, was its debut a couple of years ago. And then I was at Ennis with it at the first race. And it's like I said, it's got an issue with the car that I'm still sorting out. I've had some motor issues with it, trying to make a big block Chevrolet, run with those Hemi cars ain't the easiest task in the world. You've got to be just right with it. And when it's not happy, it's not happy. It's kind of like a nitro car too. When it ain't happy, it's really upset. So, but yeah, we took it out last weekend and made a couple of hits with it. A couple of my crew guys have got cars this year also. I'm helping them on. Josh Warren, he's got a little Maverick that he's racing now, getting licensed in. Trent Work, which has been one of my long crew members for years. He actually has one of our old top fuel cars chassis. It was Adam Sorokian's R&B car. He got it put together, and he's been out running it and getting licensed in it. And I've been kind of helping him on it. So yeah, there's a lot of irons in the fire, and plus with two nitro cars, the Heritage Legal car, which we're going to run a few events with it this year. We're going to run some of the extreme races, at least one at Martin, Michigan is our plan. We're planning on running Bowling Green, Kentucky with it. And Tulsa is in the thought process. It wasn't originally on our list, but it is in our thought process to run it, the Heritage Legal car, 3 times this year. And then we have the A-Fuel car, which we converted over into the Chaos car this winter. And we're planning on making all 4 events with it. So, between those 2 cars, 7 events, that's a lot of work. There's a lot of time in the shop. Fortunate John provides us with everything that we need, but unfortunately, like everybody knows, that we're at the mercy of the suppliers right now, and the food chain is slow as far as getting parts on time. And that's kind of held us back a little bit this year. But 7 races with a nitro car, with one of the 2 nitro cars, is plenty of races for us. We all have full-time jobs. wives and family. So, but we're going to make the best of it, and we're going to have a good time doing it. That's for sure.
I'm confident that you guys will have a good time doing it. So you talk about the car that's your Chaos car. That was your old A fuel car. And now, what did you do what is your setup to make it kind of, I think outlaw would be the term. It's not heritage legal, but so what type of setup do you have on that dragster?
Well, we kind of copycated the heritage legal car to a point. With having, like before, when we had the A fuel car, which was injected on nitro, and then we had the top fuel car. I mean, yeah, it's nice having two cars, but the two combinations were totally different. I mean, there was really the only thing that was the same was the block and the heads on the cars. So trying to keep up with two different cars and in the inventory that it takes to run two of the cars competitively was just getting ridiculous and very confusing and everything. So what we decided to do, the A fuel class in the Heritage Series really doesn't run that often here. So we were only really running the car once or twice a year. And me and John kind of had to sit down and kind of had to talk about it. It really wasn't worth keeping the car, for one race a year, heritage legal. So, so we only had two options. We had either sell the car and just focus on the heritage legal car, or we had, basically we had a large supply of parts, spare parts, to build a second combination and run the Chaos stuff with it. We ran the Chaos last year at Mocan with the car as a legal A fuel, heritage legal A fuel deal. And we did pretty well. I think we got to the semis on the B field.
Yeah.
On it. But that was the first time the car had been out all year. So, and she wasn't happy. She hadn't got loved on. She hadn't got attention and everything. So she wasn't happy, and she kind of fought us a little bit there and everything. And so, it was just one of those deals. Do we order two different parts, or do we order more of the same parts and make both cars the same? So that's kind of what we did with the Chaos car. It's basically the same motor combination from the hat to the pan as the legal car is. The fuel system are pretty close to the same. I was fortunate enough that Mike Kern and Jim Young helped us a bunch. I mean, without them, I'd still be blowing up parts on the legal car. And we kind of moved that combination over to the Chaos car. So the motor itself combination is the exact same as the legal car, from the injector hat all the way down to the oil pan. It does have a bigger pump on it, and right now it does currently have a 2-speed in it. I don't know that that's going to stay in it. We're still in test mode with that. But other than that, the cars are basically identical motor-wise, other than the larger pump on the deal. So we went testing with it about 3 or 4 weeks ago. We tried, with the 2-speed in it, and it does have a slightly larger rear tire on it than what's heritage legal. So we went testing, and it didn't start out real great, but it did move 5 feet and it instantly smoked the tires. So, but we sat down, we analyzed it and figured it out, and we made a real nice pass Saturday. We spent 3 days testing it. We made a real nice pass Saturday on it. Had a couple of little issues with it on Saturday. New car blues. Got those lined out. We made 2 solid passes on Sunday with the car. And the car, on the last pass that we made on Sunday, the car really responded and to the combination, it's responding to the changes that we're making to it every time, good and bad. With the bigger pump on there and only being 8th mile, so with the Nitro Chaos events, it kind of gives us a little bit of room, and we can actually shorten the wick up on it just a little bit more than trying to make it run full quarter. It only has to live to the 8th. So it produced some good numbers. So for the weekend, testing, we was really happy with it. I got to work on my lights a little bit. I'm a little bit rusty on that. Hadn't been in the car for a while. My lights was down in the 070 range, and my crew was getting on to me about that. So.
Come on, man. We put you up there in the car that'll run. You got to get off the line, Gary.
Oh, yeah. I mean, if I'm not 50 or better on the tree, my crew really gets on me hard about it. But, they do their job. They, they work their tail ends off on both cars, so least I can do is do my job on the start line.
Yeah. Growing up, is Wagoner home for you?
Yes, sir.
Okay. And so growing up around Tulsa and the old Southwestern, that there's been a lot of history written at Tulsa at the drag strip there now. And it's been there for a long, long time. And, so all the time, those of us that have been around it for years and years, we look at the names, Nelson Carter and John Collins and Jimmy Nixon, Benny the Wiz Osborne, and many others from Oklahoma. Well, you're one of those guys. You're one of those Oklahoma racers. How does it, what does it mean to be one of the latest generation of racers in nitro cars and really fast cars from Oklahoma?
The people that from back in the early days that was around here, Benny, and all them guys, John Collins, which was real good friends, and you had the Kreitz and Donovan car. So it's an elite company, and I feel very fortunate and very blessed to even be my name to even be brought up with those names. To be honest, I'm just an old Okie racer from Wagner that loves to race, I was very, very fortunate a few years ago. Real good friend of ours, mine and John's, John Neese, who collects a lot of historical, nitro cars. We were in Bowling Green, and he asked me if I would be interested in cackling the Kreitz and Donovan car, which that was one of my cars from way back when growing up that I always looked up to. I mean, it was a beautiful car, it went fast, and they were Tulsa people. So I was very fortunate enough that John asked me, very blessed, that Mr. Neese asked me to cackle that car right after he had purchased it. And he has several other collections of cars, now too, that are just absolutely phenomenal cars. But, me and John got to go over there for one of his open house situations, parties. And, just looking at the cars that came from here and from Oklahoma and stuff, it's makes me very humble. I mean, to even be mentioned with those gentlemen and, those racers from back then, because those were all my idols back then. I mean, they were Oklahoma guys, they were working class people. They didn't have a lot of money. They used every dollar that they made into the race car and put it back into the race car. So, it's a pretty good honor for that. I don't look at myself as one of those drivers yet. And I don't know that I'll ever be able to match up to those guys, but I'm sure going to have a lot of fun trying.
Well, I know that you are. And this week, week and a half you're going to be up there mixing it up at Cincinnati, Ohio, in that inaugural DMP awning Nitro Chaos event. Man, that's what do you think about this series and the opportunity to represent Tulsa and Wagoner and your state in this series?
Oh, it's going to be a blast. I mean, we're all of us are kind of looking forward to it. You know, the way Chris runs the chaos races, it's just everybody is friends. It's not the typical big sanction, cutthroat, dog eat dog deal. I mean, everybody's out having a good time. So, and that's kind of what brought us to it, especially. It's really laid back. Chris and Tara run a superb show. And these things take time and they take money to grow. And for what Chris has done in a short amount of time with the chaos stuff and in the funny car chaos, it's just absolutely phenomenal. It gives the working class people a place to race, and it gives people that does race at a lower budget, puts them out there, in kind of in the spotlight to where you're not a big show car, but you can feel like one. And with Chris's races, that's how you feel. It's very welcoming. So, we're looking forward to it. We've got actually 2 of the Nitro Chaos races that are only about less than 2 hours from our home. So, it's we're really looking forward to it. I hope we do some good, and represent the Nitro Chaos deal respectably.
Well, I'm confident that you will. And I was, you were talking about that Tulsa race in September. The next weekend is going to be the championship finals for the Nitro Chaos. And, might be kind of cool if some of those racers that come into Tulsa for that Nitro Nationals come down into Oklahoma City and mix it up with us. But we'll see if that happens. But, wouldn't that be cool?
Oh, yeah. I mean, we're fortunate, if we do end up running Tulsa, fortunately we have 2 cars, the Chaos car and the Heritage car. So, and our shop is basically 5 miles from the Tulsa racetrack. So once we get done, if we do go to Tulsa, once we get done with Tulsa, we go to the shop, unload one, roll the other one in the trailer, and we're ready to go. That's one thing like I said before, John is one of those guys that, he's fronts this thing totally out of his pocket. We've been looking for some marketing partners and stuff with it, but, these are John's play toys. He's 83, 84 years old, and living the dream, so, and he's fortunate enough that he gives us the parts that we need to go play. So, and I can't thank him and the crew enough, because, I mean, I'm only one guy, once I'm in the seat of the car, it's all on the crew, to do everything. So, I mean, I don't do this alone. John doesn't do this alone. I mean, it takes a full crew, a full team to make these cars happen, and sometimes the crew guys just don't get enough credit for what they do behind the scenes. The driver and the owners usually get all the credit, but, which I feel that the entire team deserves equal credit.
That's right. And it's great that you mentioned that and bring that to the forefront of everybody's attention. It does take a whole crew to make it happen. Well, for everybody up in the Cincinnati area that's getting ready for Nitro Chaos to come up there, make sure you get by and see the Grand Prix Auto Sport car with Gary Wheeler doing the driving, and get a chance to meet that hardworking crew and watch what they do for you. Gary, man, thank you very much for tuning in with us tonight and for giving us a chance to pick your brain and find out about your racing heritage. Man, it means a lot to have you with us, and And thank you so much for being a part of tonight's show.
I appreciate you guys having me on. Thank you.
All right. There you have it. Gary Wheeler from Wagoner, Oklahoma, a guy that was literally born just about at the racetrack, left the hospital and went to the drag strip. I'll tell you what, that's an early introduction to the drags, isn't it, Lee?
For sure, definitely an early introduction. That's almost like a Ron Capps story. You know, he's like, I was probably conceived at March meet. I'm like, Ron, come on, man. You know, so yeah. But look, we have got some great drag racing ahead of us. Certainly this weekend, rain has plagued issues all across the East Coast with a lot of the events that are racing across the board in the world of motorsports. But when Chaos fires up in Odessa and when Chaos fires up in Cincinnati, Chaos Nation is going to be firing on all cylinders, and it is going to be a good time. David, I might even just send you a video or give you a phone call with the first warm-up and be like, man, I'm getting it earlier than you because I'll be in the time zone before you. I just have to let you get a little peek.
You feel free to do that, my friend. And, you know, there's all kinds of stories that are shaping up for that race out at Pinwell Nights and, you know, at Edgewater. But, you know, there's going to be some folks that come into that event way down in the points that aren't used to being there. But by the time they leave, by the time we leave Pinwell Nights Raceway, it's going to be a whole lot of shaking up going on in the points for the 2023 Spell Paving Services Championship. And this is going to be good. Going to be good.
It is. It is. I am a little disappointed. I was hoping to have – I already had the interview locked in my mind. Kirk Williams, you currently sit 23rd in points. That's a place that you are strange to be in. What are you going to do about it? And see what he's got to say. But I'm not going to be able to get to do that. So maybe, David, you know, get down there and ask him that for me. Get it on camera. We need to have that somewhere for posterity.
Well, one of the things about it in analyzing the points, yeah, he's 23rd right now, but if you take a look at who's going to be at the race, Kirk Williams comes into that event 12th because of all the people that aren't going to get any points at Pinwell. So Kirk has got an opportunity to move way up, you know, way up in the points. And of course, he's hoping to do what he did last year and leave very few points on the table. And, you know, those of us that have been watching him race for the last couple of years, you know that they're going to be coming in locked and loaded. But they've got a bunch of other people locked and loaded up above them on that points list. So, man, 29 cars going for 24 spots out there on the Cinco de Mayo weekend at Pinwell Nights Raceway. I tell you what, it's going to be so good. I can hardly wait to get there.
Man, it is going to be good. I was able to talk with the Deal and Knobloch camp there at the Las Vegas NHRA 4-Wide Nationals, and Don cannot wait to get back in Chaos Land, run the rest of the races, and they said, hey, they're there to win. They are there to step up. They are there to, well, vie for that championship just as much as anybody else. So I know they're looking forward to be there. Also, there's interesting storylines. For example, we have Louisiana postponed to the end of the year. So the next points-paying event, obviously, is Odessa, right after the Classic at Ennis at the Texas Motorplex. And you have people showing up once again like Lyle Greenberg. We know Lyle is not going to run the whole entire championship season, but he comes in and could definitely play a spoiler if you do the math from Odessa to the end of the year for someone that is very well running for the championship because he's got a great running hot rod with that Cone Hunter machine.
I tell you, this they pull in the gate and they get in show up points, and Alex Barker will be tied for number one points in Funny Car Chaos. And that's got to be one of those things that'll make those teams a little giddy.
For sure. Well, David, man, it's been great to talk to the Heels. Been great to talk to Mr. Wheeler. And We have talked about Nitro Chaos, Funny Car Chaos. Anything else, man?
No, I tell you what, it's so exciting to have the people that are supporting Chaos, Nitro Chaos and Funny Car Chaos, not only supporting the races, but tuning in here for Chaos Live. It's been a thrill to see everybody chiming in and sending their words of encouragement to the racers and to us. It is so much fun to be a part of what we've got going on, and so everybody out there in Chaos Nation, we appreciate you and we thank you very much for continuing to be a part of what's being put together with Chris and Tara and all the people that make Chaos go around. Lee, thank you very much.
Thank you, man. It's been a great show. To everyone out there, good night. Chaos Live. We're out.
See you next time.
Chaos comes to Cleves, Ohio, and Edgewater Sports Park, Friday and Saturday, May 5th and 6th. Presented by Summit Racing Equipment. Header flames will fill the sky on Friday night with 2 rounds of nitro qualifying under the lights. Saturday, final qualifying and elimination. Plus, seat gear slamming gassers, nitroscoping door slammers, and the crowd favorite Blastro and Mayhem Outlaw Minivan. Every ticket is a pit pass, and kids 10 and under are free. Get info at nitrochaos.com. May 5th and 6th, Edgewater Sports Park. Be there.